Live in interesting times, today's stories. Maduro supporters rally in Caracas. In another Caracas rally, protesters demand entry for aid and for military to step aside. Malnutrition is one of the saddest phases of the Venezuelan crisis. UN eyes rule for automatic emergency braking systems in new cars. President Trump says he is not happy with the budget deal over the border wall. Americans protest against Trump as U.S. president rallies in Texas. El Paso mayor denies Trump's claim that the fence helped lower crime. Trump hopes he will do as well during the second summit with North Korea. Plus, Philadelphia residents benefit from INC Aid to Humanity. Hello everyone, I am Sarah Nachman bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Supporters of Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro, including members of the Bolivarian militia, rally in Caracas.
Maduro called a march of young leftists in the center of Caracas, denouncing foreign intervention in Venezuela's affairs and collecting signatures of people who reject U.S. President Donald Trump.
Meanwhile, thousands of opposition activists take to the streets to demand the military allow in aid.
Thousands of opposition activists headed out into the streets on Venezuela on Tuesday to demand the military allow in desperately needed aid.
La ayuda humanitaria es para poder librarla en los hospitales, para poder salvar a la gente que se está muriendo, los niños que se están muriendo de menga, de enfermedades que ya están radicadas en Venezuela.
Y que se pongan de acuerdo las autoridades militares y permitan el paso, inclusive deberían protegerla para que llegara a los sitios necesarios.
Eso, pedirle a los militares que por favor se venga para el lado correcto de la historia. Necesitamos ya que Maduro se vaya para que este país pueda renacer.
Opposition leader Juan Guaido called the Youth Day demonstration to honor 40 people killed in anti-government rallies and pressed for the food and medicine to be brought into the economically ravaged South American country. Taking his authority from the Constitution as National Assembly leader, Guaido says Maduro's presidency is, quote, illegitimate, as it was founded in flawed elections. He is trying to force the socialist leader from power so he can set up a transitional government and hold new presidential elections. The fate of tons of aid that has been piling up in Colombian collection centers at the border with Venezuela has become central to the power struggle between Guaido and Maduro, who is backed by the powerful armed forces. Venezuela is in the grip of recession and hyperinflation, while millions of people are suffering from a shortage of basic necessities. The UN says some 2.3 million people have fled since 2015. But the military has barricaded a border bridge linking the countries, with Maduro describing the aid as a political show and a pretext to a U.S. intervention. Guaido, recognized by some 50 countries as interim president, has offered amnesty to military personnel who dumped Maduro and told them that refusing to allow in aid was a crime against humanity. He says almost 100,000 Venezuelans have signed up as volunteers to help bring in aid and distribute it to those most in need. The Venezuelan government distributed food and medicine on Monday. Guaido's envoy met Brazilian officials in Brasilia on Monday and announced plans to establish a second aid storage center in the state of Roraima on Venezuela's southeastern border from next week. But Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino said the armed forces were deploying a reinforced presence all along the border. Although he has wide international support in his bid to oust Maduro, Guaido needs the support of the armed forces. He has warned the military that it will be held responsible for any deaths among the protesters on Tuesday. The U.S. has presented a draft resolution to the UN Security Council calling for international aid deliveries and new presidential elections. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Tuesday dismissed the move as an attempt to, quote, cover up planned provocations, to destabilize the situation in Venezuela and even gain an excuse for direct military intervention.
As Venezuela's government and opposition quarrel over letting in foreign humanitarian aid, the saddest face of the crisis is indeed that of suffering children. But thanks to a team of medics and a Venezuelan NGO, some young children are on track to a happier health.
Samuel, who is 15 months old, weighs as little as a newborn and was close to death upon admission at Caracas Central Hospital.
Mi esposo no estaba trabajando, gracias a Dios ya consiguió trabajo y bueno, mi familia me ayudaba y todavía me ayuda. Y bueno, ahí estamos luchando y gracias a Dios, bueno, ha evolucionado bien y bueno, y ahí estamos.
Yo creo que tengo que dar golpe por ahí buscando con una ropita o una casa, a ver si hay ropa helado. Así, me da pena decirlo, o con caraota, que la gente se me ayudan, me dan algo y yo le hago los niños.
Yo quisiera ayudar a todos, pero no se puede, por eso necesitamos la ayuda humanitaria. No hay lugar. Los niños se están muriendo. Y es muy triste.
Juan Rodriguez, spokesman of the UN Economic Commission for Europe, said dozens of countries have come out in favor of fresh international regulation requiring all new cars and lighter motor vehicles to be equipped with automatic emergency braking systems.
Donc ces pays se sont mis d'accord pour adopter pour l'instant un projet de réglementation des Nations Unies sur la mise en place de ces systèmes de freinage d'urgence pour les voitures en environnement urbain, ce qui veut dire à ce qu'on appelle plus ou moins régulièrement à basse vitesse, donc sur des vitesses jusqu'à 60 km/h. Donc avec ce nouveau règlement, quand il entrera en vigueur, en priori début 2020, on aura donc un système harmonisé au niveau international où tous les nouveaux véhicules qui seront équipés de ce système devront avoir et montrer dans l'utilisation réelle les mêmes performances. C'est très différent. Oui, c'est un aspect de renforcement de la sécurité avant tout. Selon NCAP, qui est l'organisme indépendant qui fait des crash tests, eux, ils estiment que ces systèmes-là vont réduire jusqu'à 38% les collisions. La Commission européenne, elle, qui était un des leaders de ces travaux-là avec le Japon, elle fait des estimations sur la mortalité et estime que ça pourrait réduire la mortalité jusqu'à 19% dans les cas de conduite bien ciblés dans lesquels vont s'appliquer ce règlement. Donc des bénéfices.
Coming up, President Trump says he is not happy with the budget deal over the border wall. Americans protest against Trump as U.S. President rallies in Texas. El Paso mayor denies Trump's claim that the fence helped lower crime. Trump hopes he will do as well during the second summit with North Korea. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will be right back.
News teams are fair.
Sa impeachment complaint laban kay Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, ang ilang maestra.
Ang rekomendasyon na makasuhan ang mga sangkot kasama na ang mga opisyal ng customs.
Hardworking.
Papaunlad ng isang bata na magiging isang future youth leaders.
Dedicated.
Sa nasawi ay dito natagpuan yung bangkay.
Yung kanilang paraan ng pag-aalaga ng mga may sakit na leprosy noong unang panahon.
Committed to public service.
ang chairmanship ng ASEAN sa bansang Singapore.
Marami yung mga biktima ng mga nawawala.
Manambahan ng Bureau of Customs na nasa merkado na yung mga pinaking produkto.
Sa kapila ng mga kilos protesta na nanatiling
dahil sa
payapa.
mabilis na pagresponde ng mga pamatay sunog, ang apoy mabilis na
Karoon ng equal opportunity ang ibang mga kababaihan.
Ng mga kabataan at ipinakita sa pamagitan ng kanilang mga likha.
Nanatiling kulang pa rin ang tubig para sa irigasyon, para sa pagtatanim ng ating mga kababayang magsasaka.
As we live in interesting times.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang 1:00 ng hapon.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. U.S. President Donald Trump said Tuesday he wasn't happy with a preliminary deal by U.S. lawmakers to provide funding for a border wall with Mexico, but added another government shutdown was not likely.
Trump, however, indicated he could supplement the offer from Congress from other sources and lay the dispute to rest. He said, "Walls getting built anyway," suggesting he would find additional funding from far less important areas. U.S. lawmakers reached a preliminary deal to provide some funding for Trump's wall, but were waiting to see if he would accept the compromise and cancel the shutdown. At nearly $1.4 billion for wall construction, the budget agreed by Republican and Democrat lawmakers was far less than the $5.7 billion that Trump wanted. Trump has not given a definitive answer, telling a crowd of supporters at a rally in the Texas frontier city of El Paso late Monday only that there was probably some good news, but who knows. The money, along with other border security measures, was presented as a workable deal to satisfy both sides and allow Trump to shelve his threat to shut down swaths of government on Friday. In December, Trump tried to pressure Congress into approving the $5.7 billion by refusing to sign off on funding large parts of the government that have nothing to do with the wall, putting 800,000 jobs from FBI agents to airport security on hold for 5 weeks. The Democrats refused to budge and Trump was forced into an embarrassing climb down, allowing new negotiations to open with a new deadline of this Friday.
A crowd of anti-Trump protesters march for truth at the same time as U.S. President Donald Trump pushes his politically explosive crusade to wall off the Mexican border at a rally in the Texas border city of El Paso.
These people just want what we already have, which is the American dream. And so it's important for me to be here today to stand in solidarity and stand in their place since they are in the shadows and they can't be out here with us.
After they enforce our border patrol, we don't have to spend so much money anymore after that, you know. It's just going to take a little bit on the wall, but eventually we are going to be pleased.
El Paso's Republican Mayor Dee Margo said President Trump's claim that his city's law and order was turned around by building a fence is, quote, not factually correct. In his State of the Union speech last week, Donald Trump said El Paso used to have extremely high rates of violent crime until a border fence was constructed in 2008.
It's not factually correct. We were safe before, we're safe after. The fence has helped with some criminal activity, but the primary reason we're as safe as we are is because of our police force and our public safety people. I mean, our fence is a part of the entire border process. I mean, we're a sovereign nation and we do need to control our borders. And it's just that physical barriers can be a part of that, but it's more than that. It's technology and it's manpower and all of the above. It would be a physical impossibility to build a fence from El Paso to Brownsville. The geography of Texas doesn't allow that, and the majority of the land along our border is privately held. So it's not conducive to that. Well, I think my biggest challenge has been our perception out there that We may have issues regarding crime. We are the safest city in the United States. That we are intertwined with the Mexican border. El Paso and Juarez have been basically joined at the hip for over almost 400 years. There's families on both sides of the border. There's commerce on both sides of the border. And frankly, people don't realize until 1848, El Paso was actually located physically on the south side of the Rio Grande. So, we go way back.
U.S. President Donald Trump says during a speech in El Paso that he hopes he will do as well during his second summit with North Korea, scheduled to take place in Hanoi, Vietnam on the 27th and 28th of February.
I'm going to Vietnam, to Hanoi in the near future, 27th and 28th of February, to have another summit, and hopefully we do as well with the second summit as we did with the first. I hope so.
When we come back, Philadelphia residents benefit from INC Aid to Humanity. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang 1:00 ng hapon.
This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Sarah Nachman. For the second time in less than a year, residents of the City of Brotherly Love received help from the Aid to Humanity project. Myla Simbulan reports.
We are here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where members of the Church of Christ, or Iglesia ni Cristo, through the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, started the year by showing their love of brotherhood to those who are in need.
We chose Philadelphia specifically because of the alarming poverty rate. We have a poverty rate of 26%. And we can see around this community, many people are hurting. So as members of the Church of Christ, we hold on to our Christian values, that we should continue to love our fellow men and our neighbors. And to see so many people only shows one thing, that people are still in need, especially in these times.
This is the second time the Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ group, organized an outreach like this in the city of Philadelphia. The first time was in October of 2018. Neighbors in the area are mostly in attendance, but some traveled as far as New Jersey. The event started with the study of the Words of God led by the supervising minister, Brother Matthew Capistrano, followed by a socialization where guests were able to mingle with the organizers and church members. They were also provided gently used coats and jackets and goodie bags that will hopefully help them with the harsh winter weather in the East Coast.
What was done here was an aid to humanity, where we were giving out personal care products and also clothing and food as well. And the way it was organized was that all the brethren got together and got their gently used clothing, and also the brethren also cooked the food, and it's been a big success. A lot of visitors came, and we're very excited about it.
I think it was very nice, and there was a lot of useful things, and the service was good.
And then to have the community come in and be able to pick out coats, clothes, and food, and it's really, really nice. There's so many people that really don't can't eat, especially with all the stuff going on in the world, and the coats. I see a lot of people grabbing the coats and the clothes.
What a great way to start the year, helping those who are in need. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this is Myla Simbulan, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Myla. That is today's Eagle News Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook. Also, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. On behalf of Eagle News Washington, D.C., thank you for watching. I am Sarah Nackman, and I am 1 with 25.
Ito ang Eagle Broadcasting Corporation.
June 17, 1967, Eagle Broadcasting Corporation, EBC, was granted a legislative franchise to establish, maintain, and operate